Alright, so I thought I'd take a quick walk around, take a orchard walk, and it's been about 100 degrees every day for the last 3 or 4 days. This weekend should be much the same. High 90s, high humidity. It's nasty, but we'll take a walk through and see how the apple trees are doing. Alright, so here's the cordon row. They're all doing well and healthy. Here's a Cox's Orange Pippin on a bud 9. This one's a little slow grower. It's a Bite Me on bud 9. Just grafted this year. Suntan on a G11. You can see the graft right there. And this one's a Rubinette on G11. It's another slow grower for me. There's a shot of the graft. What we got next is a Wixon. This one's growing fast. It's on G11. If you can see the graft on this one. Here's a Sunset. This is very hard to find here in the US. On G11, it's a slow grower. Did a whip and tongue on this one. Next we have Chestnut Crab on G11. This one's doing well, growing pretty quick. You can see the graft on this one also. Here's a Calville Blanc. It's a fast grower too. On G11, I think they're all G11s here. This one I did a cleft graft. Here I've got a Sweet 16. Now the Sweet 16 and the Williams Pride are both on G11, and they're just fantastic growers. At least here. This is another cleft graft. And a Williams Pride, G11, another fast grower. I think this was a cleft also. So they're probably about 2.5 feet of growth, each one of them, in just this season. Here's some of the stooling, getting ready to do some stool beds. And I did some grafts. You're not going to be able to see them though because there's tape. But I put a first year T-bud on this one, and over here I did a T-bud for a huge crab. Just see if I can't get a jump on it, if I can get it to grow on this before I even cut it out. Next year I'm hoping I can just cut it right here. It'll start growing, I can just cut it here and get a jump. So over here we have an Enterprise that died back. I cut it, treated it like it was going to come back, and it came back. It'll be a few years behind, but at least it's not a goner. Roxbury Russet, second year. It's probably about almost 8 feet now on G11. This is a third year golden russet. From what I read, it's a tip bearer, and however, it looks like there's all kinds of little spurs right here. So maybe it's a partial tip. I mean, it looks like it has spurs all up and down here. So we'll see. I'm not tipping it back or anything. I'm just gonna let it go and see what it does. I just noticed here this band's getting tight. So it's on G41. I have a metal tag on this side, so I can take that off. These two here are Harrisons, and I'm experimenting with the different pruning styles. So I have a open center and a modified. So they're both on their third year, and this is a G11 open center Harrison, and this one over here is, I believe it's an M7. We're gonna do a modified central leader. Yeah. So I originally cut it back here. It started growing out, and then I let it go up again, and I cut it right here to get a couple more shoots that I'm training with toothpicks and stuff. You can see, and I'll let it get up to a reasonable height and then stop it. So all of these trees this year, I put pea gravel around them and then some mulch, and next year I'll come in, or wood chips. Next year I'll come in and put some wood chips over here and leave that one to decay. Got some comfrey spread out. Next row is what will probably be my trap tree, is a Liberty. This is grafted this year. Cleft graft. On a B9. And over here is a Bulmer's Norman on 222. It's a cleft graft also. It's a real slow grower. I'm noticing a lot of these cider trees are really slow. This is basically cider tree row. There's both of these two rows are just for cider trees. That one's a fail, so I'm going to save that spot for next year for another one. This one's a real slow grower, brown snout on G41. And what did I do on this one? I can't even really tell. Oh, I did a whip and tongue on it. So yeah. And another one, G41. Slow grower. Another whip and tongue. This one's growing pretty well. This is a Bramley seedling, but I heard it's a pretty good grower. At least that's what I read. This one's a cleft graft. It's healing really well. You can't really see it on this side. And over here, we got a Newtown Pippin on G935, another cleft. It's doing well, but it's on a bigger rootstock. Here's a Dabinet on G41. I believe it was a cleft graft. And this Dabinet's a real slow grower for me here also. That's that first year on G41. This is the second year dabbing that, which is growing really well now. But it's on a larger rootstock, a G222 rootstock. It was a whip and tongue, I think. Yeah, it's doing well. And this last one's Harry Masters Jersey. Again, cider, growing slow, cleft graft. But it's healing up. So then we have this last row here is a Ashmead's kernel. Kind of using some string to, there's a beetle. Using this string to pull this branch over. It was kind of going straight out this way. I want to fill this quadrant out, so I'm pulling this over, try and get it to grow over this way. This will be a modified central leader. I also have this branch on the second tier. It's kind of growing out, and just to have a little makeshift, I use this piece. And that piece, I just broke it. It came out of these chips. So you can use just about anything for a spreader as long as it's stiff enough. This Gold Rush. Oh, I forgot to say. Second year Ashmead's kernel is on a MM106. And this second year Gold Rush is on an M7. It's already probably 10 feet. Here's a Harris huge crab, 935. This one is fruiting, it's a third year. I think of all the chunks too, the 935 definitely has the thickest chunk. Has all kinds of spurs on it. This is relatively open center. And the last one is a wine sap on an unknown rootstock. I bought this on sale 3 years ago. So I'm using the strings to do a little festooning and shaping and pulling. So I'm pulling this branch over to fill in the 4 quarters. And I'll let it go up and do a modified central leader for it also. Again, pea gravel and wood chips on 1/4 of it. Then I'll bring it over here and do 1/4 of it and then move over. And I'm going to have comfrey on around every tree eventually. Well, that was it.